Speaker of the National Assembly.
For silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, before proceeding with the debate, I would like to thank all honorable members for making the effort to be here at such a short notice. This is the second fully physical sitting of the National Assembly following the COVID-19 and the parliamentary fire which destroyed our chamber. The Secretary will now read the order of the day.
Consideration of the report of the independent panel established in terms of Rule 1294Q to conduct a preliminary inquiry relating to a motion proposing an inquiry in terms of Section 89 of the Constitution of 1996.
Honorable members, on the 22nd November 2018, the House adopted rules to provide for procedures to give effect to Section 89 of the Constitution. The report of the independent panel established in terms of these rules is now before the House, and after the debate in terms of Rule 12913, the House must resolve to proceed or not to proceed with an inquiry by an impeachment committee of the Assembly. Point of order.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. I'm raising on a point of order to say that despite our repeated requests as different political parties that today's voting on the Section 89 panel report that it must be conducted through a secret ballot. You opportunistically yesterday responded to us, never gave us a chance to could even subject that to review because it is objectively and conclusively reactionary and suppressive of the democratic process and rights of members of parliament to want to say that they must vote on an open ballot on a very sensitive issue when they've got threats from their own political parties. The Constitution, the Constitutional Court, has said that we've got an obligation as members of parliament not to represent our parties, but to represent the people of South Africa without fear, without any form of intimidation. And now we are here in a situation which decisively should hold a president accountable. And you have denied us of utilizing a secret ballot, which in this basis is the only rational way to conduct this particular process. There is no any other way to hold a president accountable, because these members of parliament,
Honorable member,
majority of them are
thank
willing
you.
to then exercise their
I've
democratic right,
understood the
but you have
issue
denied
you are
us that
raising.
particular
Thank you.
opportunity.
Take your
It's
seat.
irrational what
Order.
you've done.
Take your seat. Thank you. May you please take your seat. Honorable member, we are now at a point where the report is being tabled and there will be a debate, and maybe what you want to raise, you can raise it at that point. We are not at a point, honorable member, we are not at a point where we are voting or not for the report. We are not at that point. All right, okay, sorry. Honorable Dr. Dlozi, let me start. The person that pen like a city, and I had to hold back. We haven't seen you in Parliament, and the first time we see you, you are heckling. Yes, Honorable Zakute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to remind all of us sitting here, especially the chief whips of all political parties. We had a special NAPC meeting, where this matter was discussed. So today we are dealing with a report. According to the rules, the report needs only 134 members plus 1 to approve it. So we agreed in that special NAPC meeting that the method of voting that we are going to use today. So we cannot have people with afterthoughts come and try to derail the proceedings of this House. So the method of voting was agreed.
Do that. We have a long day, actually. Don't do that. Honorable Malema.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like you to call Honorable Doris to order, because you know, sitting there, that you cannot cite a rule she was standing on. She was not standing under any rule. And don't do that when you are presiding over Parliament. So what she said, she was out of order, and please rule her out of order, please.
I can hardly hear, please. Honorable member. Okay, honorable members, I see you at the hand, but I will not allow you to speak at the back. I won't allow you for now to speak. Allow me, honorable members, to make this ruling. Honorable members, the Speaker is empowered to exercise her discretion in determining the voting method to be employed to decide questions before the House, where no voting method is prescribed in the rules of the Assembly. In deciding whether to have an open or secret ballot on the vote, the Speaker must be guided by the constitutional requirement to enable effective accountability while simultaneously maintain transparency and openness. For the Speaker to deviate from the principle of openness, it must be established that an open ballot is not likely to ensure effective accountability, and that circumstances exist that would most likely prevent a free expression of the will of the members of the National Assembly. Honorable members, I have considered the request for a vote by secret ballot and have communicated my decision and the reasons for my decision in this regard. It is sufficient, please lower your hand until I finish, please. It is sufficient to reiterate that a parliamentary environment is always a highly politicized space and can never be entirely free of political tensions, either between or even within parties. I do not believe that the atmosphere is so toxified or so highly charged that members of the sub-assembly would be prevented from exercising their vote on this question in accordance with their conscience using an open voting procedure. This is borne out by the various views that have been freely and publicly expressed over the last days. I further wish to reiterate that an open and transparent procedure followed by the Assembly to exercise this important decision on the Section 89 Independent Panel Report can only bring about public trust and confidence in the National Assembly and our democratic dispensation. I therefore stand by my decision to decline the request for a vote by secret. Honorable members, order. Yes, Honorable Shivambu.
We want to stand to reject that decision, and then we want to express that through a vote. That can we be allowed to vote on whether we can use secret ballot or not. So we are proposing firmly that before we proceed with this process, we should be allowed to vote on your decision now.
It's a point of order, Honorable Shivambu.
It's an issue that we have to then deal with in the particular fashion. Please.
There's a point of order. Honorable member, yes, you have the floor.
We are proposing division of the House on that question.
Please take your seat. I've noted you made your point.
And the division must be secret as well.
No, please take your seat, Honorable member. Honorable member, please. Honorable member. Honorable member, behind the mic here. Behind the podium. Yes, you may have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Peggy Hadebe, Rule 8, Sub-Rule 3 and Sub-Rule 2, read in conjunction with Rule 92, Sub-Rule 11. Speaker may make rulings, and all members are obliged to comply with the rulings. The ruling of the Speaker cannot be questioned, challenged, or questioned in this House. I so move. Thank you.
Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Member.
Speaker.
Hold on, Honorable Members.
Speaker, I've been raising my hand.
I've seen you and I noted you. Take a seat. Sit down. Take a seat. Honorable Zungula, take a seat.
Don't shout.
Take your seat. I will give you an opportunity. Take a seat. Take your seat.
Do not shout.
Take your seat.
Do not shout.
Honorable members, Honorable Malema, Honorable, shouting actually, Honorable Malema, you are. You know what? I am not going to allow you to disrupt this session. I will not. You can rest assured. Honorable Zungula, you'll recall that earlier on I did say that I noted your hand. You may now take the floor. Thank you.
Speaker.
Honorable Malema, please provide leadership. You shouted first. Salapansi, Tula. Take the floor, Honorable Zungula.
Speaker, I think the first thing you must not do, Speaker, do not note me, and then you note other people, and then after you come back to me, and you shout. That is the first thing. The second thing, Speaker, is that the powers of Speaker do not belong to you personally. You must not use your personal views on how a decision is taken in Parliament, because the powers that you have belong to the people of our country. The Constitutional Court ruled that under such circumstances, there are threats, Speaker, that members of the ruling party have been given by their chairperson, that should they vote differently towards the party instruction, they are going to be expelled.
Order, honorable members, I can hardly hear. Honorable members, please allow me, I have to hear, I can't hear. Yes, Honorable Sungula.
So there are existing threats, Speaker. The chairperson, who is the minister, is here, can confirm that he has threatened members of Parliament. If they vote differently from what they've decided as a party, they are going to be expelled. How can you say that is not reason enough to grant a secret ballot? We've got Honorable Nyonso, who also received a death threat. He's gone to the police station to open a case. Why don't you think that is reason enough to grant a secret ballot?
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable Mr. Klaso, there's something wrong with the system. There is something wrong with the system. I can hardly hear from here. Thank you. Honorable members, I have made a ruling, honorable members, and I propose that we proceed with the debate on this matter. And allow for parties to express their views on the matter. And once done, you then make the remarks which you had already uttered, Honorable Shivam. The point is, all parties who had written to the Speaker has since responded to all of the matters which you raised and referred parties to a decision of the National Programming Committee, which we had, where parties proposed on their own. It was actually proposed by the chief whip of the majority opposition party, that we should go the route of a roll call. And they were supported by the chief whip of the EFF and other honorable members. And what I have since done as Speaker, honorable members, please allow me to finish, because I am recapping the events of the past few days. And since then, the decision of the Speaker stood. Subsequently, I received letters from various parties who were part of that National Programming Committee, which took a decision on how this vote will be conducted. And therefore, honorable members, you must have noted that in those letters I did remind you about the decisions which we took. And it is on the basis of that, honorable members, that I am requesting that we proceed with the debate on this matter. The report is before you. You have
And now, we understand the threat by this minister who swallowed the cameras of Busasa, who's threatening his own members. On top of the swallow of Busasa cameras, there is another threat where members of parliament have received death threats from the underworld which these people are working with, that if we vote in the opposite, we are going to be killed. That development, when you wrote the letter rejecting a secret ballot, was not there. And it is on the basis of that we are rising here now, that you may want to reconsider your decision because there are these developments which were not there when you wrote your letter, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Malema. Honorable members, order. Order. Just as a reminder, I have received, no man, you can't make reference to somebody being a liar here now. Honorable members, in all the letters which I have received from political parties who are appealing the decision of the NCA, of the National Programming Committee, none of this information was contained in that report. Yes, correct. Now I am saying, honorable members, thank you. Honorable members, I'm informed by Mr. Kaso that this morning there was a case which was reported to the police. Honorable members, please, man, let's not be rowdy. Just listen. Allow me to finish. I have made a determination on the basis of your own submissions. I've also made a determination on the basis of the National Programming Committee meeting which we held last week, right? Now, and I did apply my mind to that. And I took a decision based on the submissions, but also based on the decision of the NAPC. And now, the police, I am informed by Mr. Kaso, are currently investigating that matter. So that matter right now is not a subject for discussion. What we are discussing is the report before us, honorable members. That is what we are seized with now. It is the report before us. Honorable, there was, did I recognize you? Okay. Yes, Honorable Mente.
Speaker, when we wrote to you, this development was not there. And you are correct, you responded to us on the basis of the facts we put before you. Immediately after we have received your response, there was this development. Now, we are going to suggest that Let's take 5 minutes, go and apply your mind and come back with a new ruling. People are going to die and you are going to have blood in your hands. Because when they vote against what the Minister of Minerals threatened about, they are going to be killed. And their blood is going to be in your hands.
Honorable members, order. Order, Honorable Nhlangwini, please. Honorable members, you have made reference to a statement made by the Honorable Minister of Minerals. I do not want to talk to a matter which has nothing to do with me. However, honorable members, I do not recall that in the statement there was a death threat to anyone. Can we correct that? Can we correct that? There was no death threat directed at any one of you and us by the chairperson. There may have been other things which he said, but I do not recall reading or hearing that the chairperson has threatened people with death. I do not recall that. That man you were referring to. Honorable Zungula.
Speaker,
Yes, Honorable Zungula,
when you responded, Speaker, to our
followed
letters,
by Honorable Khatebe.
when you responded to our letter, Speaker, you never dealt with the issue of the national chairperson who was threatening members of parliament. In all of your letters and responses, that has not been addressed. That is the first thing. The second thing, Speaker, is that last night, members of parliament received death threats via SMS stating should they vote in favor of the report, their days are numbered. That is last night. Now, I want to come to you again, Speaker, and say I agree with the submission by Honorable Mende. If you want to take 5 minutes to apply your mind again, please do so. But your decision that the voting method today will be via an open method, that decision is irrational. That decision, Speaker, does not take into account the circumstances that we find ourselves in, where members are threatened on their lives, they are threatened on their livelihoods. So please apply your mind once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. There's a hand there. I'm sorry, Honorable Member there. Yes, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Khatebe, I was referring to
Is it
that
Khatebe
member
or
there.
myself?
Sorry, Honorable Pando. Honorable Member. Oh, Honorable Pando, you may proceed. Honorable Khatebe now is...
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise in terms of the rules, both with respect to how we should address honorable members of the House. You allowed, Honorable Speaker, members to refer to Honorable Dlakude as Doris, which is unparliamentary in terms of the rules. Secondly, you have allowed that aspersions should be cast or can be cast against the Minister of Minerals and Energy. As far as I'm aware, there is no chairperson of the ANC in this House. There is Honorable Mandashe, who's an elected member of Parliament. And I would ask, Speaker, that given these spurious points of order by people who are afraid that their Phantom 42 will be proven to be phantom, they are now merely misleading the House and delaying a debate they know they have lost. I therefore request you to allow the House to proceed, Honorable Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members. Yes, Honorable Khatib.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm also rising on the point of order of Rule 85. There were aspersions which were cast on the Minister of this House, Honorable Mantashe. I think that whatever was raised against him, it can only be done through the substantive motion. So I think that there must be a ruling around that. Number 2, Chair, Honorable Zungula is not a shop steward of the ANC. He cannot come and tell us how we run our organization. ANC has got its own system of dealing with these things. So, a leader of a 2-member party cannot tell a gigantic organization like the ANC how it should run its affairs. So we must get off, we must deal with this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, a matter has been raised here by Honorable Pando, and I must say that I missed that. I did not hear. Maybe it was at a time when there was a problem with the system, and I will therefore study the Hansard. And once I have studied the Hansard, I will rule on the matter. Honorable members, hold on, Honorable Member. I had noted a member right at the back. I'm sorry, Honorable Member, that I've not, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Sit down, Honorable Kyangi. You did not have your hand up. Honorable Member.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise in terms of Rule 92.
Honorable members, please order.
Can you call me away? Come. I rise in terms of Rule 92, subsection 3, that when a member rises to address this House, must mention the point in terms of the rules of the National Assembly upon which he rises. Now, there is a request from my far right that some self-appointed shop stewards have been making reflections on the discussions that we had earlier on as a movement called the African National Congress. It is incorrect for people to speak on our behalf. It is wrong for people to suggest that we have been threatened if they are not bringing that as a substantive motion as per Honorable Khatib. Let us not be subjected to political gymnastics and people who are dreaming about some discussions that they are afraid to undertake. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I am now ruling on this matter. And that ruling is that I have allowed you adequate time to raise at times spurious points of order, and I will not allow for a continuation of that now. I now rule that we proceed with the debate on the report, honorable members. Honorable members, we now proceed with the debate on the independent panel report, and I now call on the Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Somlomo obekekileyo. Somlomo obekekileyo. Usekela Mongameli. Amalungi onke ombutho akhoyo apha namalungu eParlamente. Namhlanje amahlo esizwe athentsho kule ngxoxo mpikiswano ngomba obaluleke kakhulu kwimbali yendlu yowiso noqingqo mthetho nakwisizwe soMzantsi Afrika ngokubanzi. Siphawula ngengxelo yophando olwenziwe ligqiza elizimeleyo leenkcuba buchopho zomthetho malunga nebholo lokubiwa kwemali kwifama kamongameli umnumzana uCyril Matamela Ramaphosa. Kokokuqala ezimbalini zalendlu ukuba sixoxa ngokususa umongameli esihlalweni sakhe phantsi kwemigaqo yalendlu esekezelwe kwisolotya 89 ke ngoko esikwenzayo namhlanje kuya kuma njengomzekelo kwiziphakamiso ezizayo ezinokuba lolu hlobo. Kakade ke elinyathelo lale mibutho iphikisayo libangela ukuba sibe kule ndawo alikho msulwa liqhinga loqhimgqosho abasoloko bezungula ichele. Iqela eliqulunqe esisicelo somlomo lasekwa ngabo bangqondo bugqirha ukuze liphakamise kule parlamente izindululo zokungamthembi umongameli kwaye licele uba umongameli ehle esikhundleni. Kudala ke bezama amatyeli ngamatyeli ukuzisa isiphakamiso sokungamthembi umongameli bekhokhelwa ngumbutho wamalungu amabini. Umhlekazi obekekileyo uzungula oko ezungula ichele wangena wazungula ichele kusuka ngo2019 ngo2022 oko wazungula ichele. Singumbutho weANC sithe sahlala phansi sanika ingqalelo kumgaqo siseko siye sandula ke ukufunda imigaqo yalendlu yowisomthetho. Lengxelo ayibopheleli kwinkqubo yomgaqo. Somlomo obelekileyo nantoni na esiyenzayo kule ndlu kufuneka ibe semthethweni kuba sithi abaqulunqi bomthetho asikwazi ukukekela ke sizenze unonkala sihambe ngokwemfuno zamaqela aphikisayo kuba wona efuna isiphumo esithile. Kudala sibacenga ogxa bethu into yoba ukuba ngaba nifuna ulawulo makubhekwe ebantwini evotini khona ukuze nibuye nilawule kakuhle. Ngoqinisekileyo ke le nkqubo sikuyo ekugqibeleni iza kugqitywa ngento yoba sivote into yoba ngobani abayixhasayo nabangayixhasi le ngxelo. Ngoko ke kukho abanenjongo ezizezinye kule nto sikuyo. Eli gqiza ngokwalo liyavuma into yoba ixesha libe lincinane kakhulu.
Honorable Member, I'm sorry, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party. There's a point of order from Honorable Kwankwa. Yes, Honorable Kwankwa.
Okay. Nkosi, thank you very much, Speaker.
Salapansi
I rise on a point of order and parliamentary language.
and
Uthe uchief whip zinengqondo zamagqwirha uthi siyathakatha. Sicela irhoxiselo.
okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Honorable Chief Whip, will you please withdraw that? Hakuna magqwirha apha. Withdraw, Honorable Chief Whip.
Hayi ndizawurhoxa kodwa ibingatsho uba bangamagqwirha ibithi ingqondo bugqwirha. Kodwa ke xa utshoyo somlomo ngokuzithoba ndiyarhoxa.
Enkosi, thank you. Proceed.
Igqiza ebeliphanda likhokhelwe nguJustice uNgcobo libhale ingxelo likhokhelwa bubulungu nobungqina obubekwe phambi kwayo. Eli solotya likwingxelo lihlwayela imbewu yentandabuzo kwabaninzi abaye bayifunda le ngxelo. Baninzi ke oompondo zihlanjiwe bezomthetho abathe besakuyifunda le ngxela bakhwela bezehlela kwigqiza. Thina siyi-ANC siyayihlonipha indima ethathwe leli gqiza kwaye asinakuze sihlasele nakanye sithi bawenzile umsebenzi. Ithi loo nto thina balapha kule ndlu yoqingqo mthetho funeka siyebuyele siyolungisa ii-rules zethu ngoba zenze bangakwazi usebenza ngokugqibeleleyo. Somlomo obekekileyo nendlu leyo yowisomthetho. Igqiza elizimeleyo alikwazanga ukufikelela kunqontsonqa yobungqina bokuchaza ukuba umongameli waphule mthetho mnina kwisinina. Lithi igqiza libotshwe izandla ngusection 129 kodwa amaqela aphikisayo athi masiqhubeke thoba umoya sisi. siyokuzingela ubungqina ngethemba lokuba bungavela ngenye imini. Thina singumbutho wesizwe sithi kungxanyelwe phina nto zakuthi. Sisho ukuba amaziko asibhozo ayaphanda, masivumele lamaziko aphande aqoshelise, kuphanda amapolisa, kuphanda uvimba womzantsi Afrika, kuphanda iNPA, kuphanda umkhuseli woluntu, masibalinde baphande baqoshelise. Hleze ke emva kuba beqoshelisile singabuya size apha kulendlu sizothetha into yimbi okwangoku asinazo iinkcukacha ezaneleyo. Somlomo sithathela ingqalelo inyathelo likamongameli lokusa ingxelo kwigqiza kwinkundla yomgaqo siseko, kodwa asibanjwanga yilonto into basingaxoxi. Sithi ingxelo ayigqibelelekanga. Umbutho wesizwe yeAfrican National Congress ayisekeli ayixhasi le ngxelo de kubekho ubungqina obubambekayo bokuba kutheni kufuneka siyivotele. Nokuba ingabuya kulonyaka ozayo noba ingabuya ngomso, uba ngaba iza inento ebambekayo sizawuxoxa lonto ikhona. Okwangoku ayinasihlahla le ngxelo ikhoyo, masivumele kuqhutywe. Iba ngumnqa ke into yoba bonke abantu bafuna ukuthethela i-ANC namalungu wayo. Abajoyinanga eminye imibutho, bajoyine i-ANC. ANC mayinikwe indawo yayo, ixoxe ngamalungu wayo, isebenze njengokuba nawena amalungu avota ngolhlobo nifuna ngawo. Yekani ukufuna i-secret vote nizifunele i-ANC. Ulawulo aluthathwa lutsalwe ngomsila, alungenwa ngosango lakasemva, ubheka pha ujongane nevote uze abantu bakubeke. Sithi ke okwangoku asixhasi le ngxelo siyi-African National Congress, sithi makuzobunye ubungqina esinokwazi ubuxhasa. Mandibulele kakhulu Somlomo.
I thank you, honorable members. I thank you, honorable member. The next on the floor will be the honorable, the leader of the opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 11 days ago, Mr. President, you were ready to quit. Your mind was made up, the speech was written, and you had resigned yourself to resign. And this wasn't some noble sacrifice to your country. No, you were going to resign from office because the alternative was unthinkable to you and potentially fatal to your party. The alternative would mean answering questions before a committee of Parliament about the large stockpile of money that you had hidden away in your farmhouse. Money that you claim was nothing other than a Christmas Day buffalo shopping combined with some lax admin and poor bookkeeping. But let me assure you, Mr. President, not many people in this House and even fewer people out there believe that you have been truthful about the origin of the money, why it spent 2 months hidden in your sofa, what you'd intended to do with it, or why you tried for 2 years to cover up evidence that it ever actually even existed. Those questions all remain unanswered. And it was the prospect of having to answer them under oath that convinced you to write your resignation speech. That is how damaging the Phala Phala truth is to you personally and clearly also to your party. And it was only when your ANC comrades reminded you about how the ANC normally deals with these inconveniences, how easily the ANC is willing to abuse its majority in this House to crush any notion of accountability, that you then decided to cancel your resignation. Satisfied that the protection of your caucus would make the questions simply go away, you decided then to step back into the ring. And of course, we've been here before. And not so long ago. We all sat in this House, debate after debate, vote after vote, and watched the ANC majority shield Jacob Zuma from half a dozen motions of no confidence and 1 impeachment vote. We had to watch an embarrassment as shameless MPs all nodded in agreement with the ridiculous Firepool video. Our Parliament became the laughing stock of the world as 250 grinning and heckling ANC MPs reduced this once august House into a mindless defender of the indefensible. And when Judge Zondo wrote his final report on state capture, never again would Parliament would be declawed and disempowered as it was in those dark days. Not under this president who rode into town majestically on the promise of a new dawn and pledged to do things differently. And yet, here we are again. Then it was in Kandla, now it's Phala Phala. Then it was fire pools and cattle kraals, now it's couches stuffed with dollars. Then it was President Jacob Zuma, now it's President Cyril Ramaphosa. But it's exactly the same modus operandi. As long as you got the numbers in Parliament, you can make any scandal go away. And if that's how you intend to vote today, in one unified shield against accountability and oversight, just like you did in the Zuma days, then shame on you. And President Ramaphosa, if that's what you expect and demand of your caucus, after everything we've been through in the wake of state capture and the Zondo report, then you, sir, are no different to your predecessor. So I ask that every member thinks carefully about what today's vote means. We're not voting to find a president innocent or guilty. We're not weighing up evidence to reach a verdict. That will only happen later. Today is about letting due process take its course. It's about acknowledging, as the authors of the report did, that there are big questions that remain unanswered, and that it can only be solved by an inquiry undertaken by this House. And that is the test before us today. Have we learnt anything from the past, or are we prepared to once again break our Parliament in defense of a leader who doesn't want to be accountable? Our country cannot afford the turmoil that will come with the president fighting for his political life and his skin. We don't have the luxury of time, and we're in trouble. We have an electricity crisis. We have a crime crisis with our citizens under daily attack. We have an unemployment crisis where 43% of our citizens, most of them under 30, cannot find a job. For 60 million South Africans, these crises are real. And we need a president with both hands on the wheel, both eyes on the road, and a head in the game. And so, honourable members, you do have a choice today. And the world is watching your decision. So I ask every member in the House today, remember your oath of office, remember who you're meant to serve, and then vote in favour of adopting this report. Thank you.
I thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable J.S. Malema.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Mr. President, we must begin by expressing our deepest disappointment in you as an individual who has been celebrated as one of the architects of the Constitution of South Africa. On the 10th of December 1996, you sat head and shoulder with President Nelson Mandela and committed this country and yourself to abiding by the rule of law and to protect and defend the Constitution that President Mandela signed on that day. You vowed in front of the world that you will hold sacrosanct the ideals of accountability and transparency which is enshrined in the Constitution without fail. Today, 26 years after you held Nelson Mandela's hand, lifted our Constitution high into the air, you stand as the greatest enemy of constitutionalism and accountability. As a so-called architect of the Constitution, you have resolved to take Parliament of South Africa to court to avoid constitutional obligation of accountability. As a so-called crafter of our democratic dispensation, you are accused of engaging in activities that characterized a criminal underworld. As a so-called champion of accountability to masses of our people, you today avoid scrutiny and questioning like a fugitive. Mr. President, your reluctance to allow inquiry into the activities of Phala Phala farm are shocking and concerning. You are so desperate to avoid any type of investigation into the crimes that have occurred at and in relation to a Phala Phala farm that you have decided to spit in the face of the freedoms and institutions so many fought and died for. It is concerning because it means worse has happened in the farm that you do not want people of South Africa to know. Instead of using the process of the impeachment inquiry to clear your name, you have mobilized your party to fight against an attempt to discover the truth of what happened in Phala Phala farm. Mr. President, you stand accused of theft from the people of South Africa. You stand accused of violating your oath of office and of violating the Constitution. You have stashed money in mattresses and allegedly avoided paying taxes. It is now accepted fact that you did not declare millions of foreign currency kept in your sofas to the South African Reserve Bank. It is now an undeniable fact that you have engaged in paid work while occupying the office of the President of South Africa. It is an undenied fact that your answers regarding Phala Phala farm are unreliable because they change depending on the audience you speak to. It has become clear that you have no intention of taking responsibility for the crimes of Phala Phala farm because at every opportunity you blame vulnerable staff members of the crimes, staff members who can only operate under your instructions. If you are not blaming staff, you are compromising investigative institutions and casting aspersion on those who make damning findings. You have degenerated and you are clinching to power under the instruction of a faction that is desperate to control the levers of state power at the expense of the people of this country. Mr. President, I want to remind you that I warned you of surrounding yourself with yes men and women who will ill-advise you in the interest of their stomach. I warned you that you should not allow factionalism to dictate the decision you take when it comes to South Africa. I warned you that the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers will not be there to defend you when we ask you to account for the decisions you implement on their behalf. I warned you of how patronizing factions can be because they will never tell you the truth. Now you have decided to take your very own parliament to court because you have allowed factions to guide your decision-making instead of your integrity and conscience. You have engaged in questionable activities such as alleged laundering of money, the abduction of suspects of crime, the misuse of state resources because the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers made you feel like you are untouchable. Today, we are touching you because you are not in the pockets of your faction or your handlers. We are touching you because we knew that white monopoly capital will use you and toss you aside. Mr. President, you should be ashamed that you have become the enemy of what so long defined your legacy. Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, we declare without fear of contradiction that you are an enemy of the Constitution of South Africa. From today, you will be treated like a real constitutional delinquent. No amount of numbers can intimidate us into silence. We have done this before, we will do it again. What if the President of South Africa is a spy? What if the spy is paid in foreign currencies? Why are the members of the ruling party not concerned to want to find the truth if their president is not in the pockets of foreign agents? What have you become so much that you are scared to hold one individual accountable in defense of our Constitution? As we sit here today, you have an opportunity to choose an individual over the Constitution of South Africa, to choose thuggerism over accountability. But all of you must know that history will judge you harshly. It is this man who held the hand of Nelson Mandela
and said the Constitution of South Africa is above all of us. Today is the same man who's peeing on the
by the president's party, regardless of the outcome of the next process, something has broken that cannot be fixed. That cannot be fixed. South Africa cannot trust the president anymore. Worse to this is that this trust was not only to the president, but to the present promise of a new dawn, promising honest leadership. Now we're left asking, is there any among them that is beyond reproach? The temptation is to say, bear the devil you know than the devil you don't. Because for us, President Cyril Ramaphosa was the only hope we had in the ANC. He stood against the factions that fought to impose radical economic transformation at any cost, and in fact, at the cost of our ailing economy. If the president is not exonerated, we fear what will come next. Looking at the possible outcome, it is clear that we should expect the worst. The IFP has deep concern for our country. It is patently clear that there are no longer leaders in the ANC whom we can trust. For what was once a glorious liberation movement has become a morass of moral corruption. I know the pain the IFP founder has, who once served this greatest liberation movement until it abandoned its founding principle. It has placed its cause on a path of a terrible destination, and tragically, Speaker, that destination has been reached. Whatever becomes of the latest stain in the ruling party, we, the people of this country, have been betrayed. The IFP support the report. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you. I now invite the Honorable Dr. P.J. Groenewald.
Geachte Speaker, on the 9th of June this year, we had a debate on the Phala Phala issue in this House. Yes, we did. And my advice to the Honourable President was to come and take the public in his confidence and give the answers, because the President is on record where he said that he did nothing wrong, that he didn't break any law. So then it is just common sense that if you have nothing to hide, that you will come forward and take the people of South Africa in your confidence and give the answers. But again, the President decided differently. Now, firstly, there's no doubt that in this whole issue, the decision of the President is not in the best interest of South Africa, but only in the best interest of himself and in the best interest of the ANC. In terms of Section 83 of the Constitution, it says quite clearly that the President must uphold, defend, and respect the Constitution of South Africa. Now, Honourable Speaker, if the President had respect for the Constitution, he will avail himself to be accountable to the National Assembly. If we go and see what the Zondo Commission found, it was clearly stated that the President himself didn't take enough steps to ensure accountability. The former Speaker apologized to the people of South Africa, saying that they failed to hold the executive accountable. Now, Chairperson, if the President respects the Constitution, he will come forward and then answer to this House to ensure accountability. And why do I say it's common sense? Yes, you can go to all the courts, you can go to the Constitutional Court, but it is a fact that the President himself said that there was foreign money at his farm. Whether it's $580,000, whether it's $1 million, whether it's 100,000 is irrelevant. The fact is that he admitted an amount in foreign currency. Now, Honourable Chair, or Speaker, it's common sense to ask them, well, did you comply to the regulations to declare it? It is common sense to ask, if you want to say it's a company, did you pay VAT, for instance? It is common sense to ask, why did you wait so long? It is common sense to say, well, why did you stuck them in furniture? Those are common sense. And Honourable Chair, what the people of South Africa wants is answers to those common sense questions. En die feit dat die agbare president dit nie doen nie, skop hy eintlik die mense van Suid-Afrika in die tande en sê, ek is die president, ek is nie verantwoordbaar aan julle nie, en buitendien is die ANC se belang baie, baie belangriker as die belang van Suid-Afrika. Ons sal wel hierdie verslag aanvaar. Dankie.
I thank you, Honourable Member. I now invite the Honourable Reverend Mishwe.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I stand here on behalf of the ACDP to support the report of the Section 89 Independent Panel and its recommendations. On the 9th of December 2022, I wrote a letter to the Speaker of the National Assembly requesting her to review her decision to apply an open voting procedure for today's crucial consideration of the panel's report. On the 11th of December, the ACDP's Deputy President, Honorable Wayne Thring, again petitioned the Speaker to allow members a secret ballot for this debate. Both requests were declined. Honorable Thring's petition to the Speaker was made after an article appeared in the Sunday World on the 11th of December, in which Honorable Mantashe was reported to have told ANC members to, and I quote, "toe the line or leave the ANC," close quote. And the ACDP believes this reported threat by the ANC's chairperson will prevent ANC MPs, in particular, from holding the executive to account and upholding their oath to, and again I quote, "perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability," close quote. It is disappointing, Speaker, that a request for a secret ballot for today's debate was not granted because evidence suggests that some members of the ANC supported the panel's report but were strong-armed into voting their conscience for fear of losing their jobs. Speaker, even if the ANC bullies their members into voting against this report, the matter will not end here. The ACDP believes that President Ramaphosa has a case to answer. He is yet to tell this House how millions of dollars came to be at his Phala Phala farm and why he did not declare them to SARS, the Reserve Bank, and other financial regulatory bodies as required by law. He must still explain why the theft of that money was not reported to the police, and he must shed some light on who the Sudanese businessman, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Ibrahim Hazim is. Is it true that Mr. Hazim carried the sum of US dollars to the value of 580,000 in cash to the president's farm? And if so, was that forex declared at immigration when he entered South Africa? The ACDP calls on President Ramaphosa to stop being evasive and be honest with the people of South Africa by answering the many unanswered questions. We further call on all members of this House, particularly the ANC members, to vote today for accountability, transparency, and according to their conscience, without fear or favor. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member. I now invite Honorable Olomisa.
Honorable ANC Speaker, Deputy President and members.
Honorable General.
Okay. Tata Mama.
Okay, I'm not an ANC speaker.
Are you a member of ANC?
I am a member, yes, you are right.
All right.
But I am not a speaker of the ANC. I am your speaker, by the way. Order.
The United Democratic Movement supports the Section 89 parliamentary inquiry. When the Section 89 independent panel was given the mandate to look into these allegations, we were all on board, and we must now let the entire process run its course. We make this point mindful of the fact that the panel, by its nature, did not have the capacity to call for witnesses. The UDM therefore believes the four main players in the case, like President Ramaphosa, Arthur Fraser, Benjamin Chauge, and Hazim Mustafa, must be given the opportunity to give their side of the story. However, let us not forget what is at the crux of this matter. The fact that there was a large amount of foreign currency hidden in President's furniture and how this cash crossed the country's borders. You will recall that the UDM made a submission to the panel detailing how Mr. Chauke, an advisor to the President, flew in and out of the country to facilitate the movement of illegal funds. It is not sufficient explanation and defense for Hazim Mustafa to purport to have declared 600,000 US dollars to customs, which falls under SARS. The South African Reserve Bank would need to have first duly approved the inflow of that amount of US dollars and require such to have been banked in any SARB licensed forex dealers and agents. In conclusion, the Section 89 panel has found that the President has a case to answer. Let there now be a full inquiry by Parliament, the very institution that elected him to office, and to which he is constitutionally accountable. Sithi mawubuye uMzantsi Afrika esiwuthandayo emaseleni mawubuye.
I thank you, Honorable Member. I now give the floor to Honorable Zungula.
Ndibulele Speaker. I thought uzonikeza ixesha elininzi kodwa masiqhube. Speaker, this is a watershed moment in our Parliament. Parliament today will either affirm that no one is above the law or some people are above the law. It would be a travesty of justice if Parliament takes a resolution that the President should not be given an opportunity to clear his name with such serious allegations hanging over his head. It is only Parliament that is empowered to investigate the constitutional breaches and acts of misconduct of the President. The Parliament cannot be told to wait for the investigations of the Hawks, NPA, Reserve Bank and SARS. The heads of these institutions are all appointed by the President. It is only Parliament that is not at the mercy of the President, as our stay here is dependent on the people who elected us to hold the executive accountable. The independent panel report merely states there may be violations to the Constitution. The impeachment committee may agree with the submissions of the President, and the case will be closed, unless, of course, the President has got something to hide. The only rational resolution Parliament can take is to have the impeachment committee. So all of the things the President is raising in a wrong forum, which is the Constitutional Court, can be dealt with here in Parliament. The Parliament commissioned a panel of experts. These experts concluded that Parliament may investigate the matter further. How can Parliament reject a report from a panel it mandated to look into the matter? A rejection of the report means Parliament is violating its constitutional mandate of oversight and accountability. Parliament can't shield the President who is elected to take Parliament and MPs to court for doing what the Constitution requires of us. The President is attempting to escape accountability by prematurely taking a non-binding report to court. Mr. Ramaphosa can't want to be a president, yet he is against being held accountable. The President is actually undermining the judiciary. How does he trust the current justices in the Constitutional Court, yet is undermining the wisdom of the former Chief Justice Ngcobo? If the President and his supporters believe he's innocent and has nothing to hide, why is he fighting against a process that would clear his name? Members who refuse a resolution to establish the impeachment committee are actually violating their oath of office, which we saw to be loyal to the Republic. As members who took an oath to be faithful to the Republic, let's vote to adopt this report and establish the impeachment committee. Eyokugqibela, ANC ndanisizela yazi. You are made to defend into engayaziyo. You know nothing about Phala Phala, akho kwamali ezekuni, but you are made to defend into engayaziyo. Vote in support of your accountability. Vote in support of oversight. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now invite the Honorable Heron.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, today the National Assembly finds itself at a crossroads. It's an opportunity to break away from the culture of impunity that has eroded this House over recent decades and show that Parliament can indeed perform its job in holding the executive to account. Or it could fall again into its old habits. If Parliament were today to bring an abrupt end to this impeachment process, it would fly in the face of everything that this administration has preached of renewal and constitutionalism. South Africa needs leaders who are morally, ethically, and legally unimpeachable. No person is above the law, and the rules adopted to give effect to Section 89 of the Constitution must take their course. That being said, good respects the right of the President to take the independent panel's report on review. Indeed, we share the President's reservations that there are various potential legal irregularities in the panel's work and the report it has produced. To impeach a president, a sitting president, is an extraordinary constitutional act with significant social, political, and economic consequences. It requires a flawless legal process, unswayed by populism, opportunism, or party factional interests. It would be unfair and unreasonable to haul a sitting president to review is upheld, the need for an impeachment committee falls away. Based on the report that we have in front of us today, it would be wholly irrational of the National Assembly to vote to kill off the impeachment process until such time as it has been set aside by a competent court. Equally, it would be irrational of Parliament to proceed to stage 2 of the Section 89 process before finality is reached on the outcomes in stage 1. Good will today move for a resolution that achieves this sensible balance. Two binary options are neither sensible, practical, nor potentially are lawful. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Imam, Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what we have is the panel report. And I think what is not in question is that the President has a case to answer. Now, I don't think we can actually doubt that. However, we at the same time cannot overlook the fact that there's an application before the Court to review the findings of this particular panel. Now, I think one of the things we are forgetting here, and I want to say particularly to the ANC, whatever happens in your party affects the entire country. The hate that exists in your party is impacting negatively on the entire 60 million people in this country. You are not only destroying yourself, but you are destroying this entire nation. Yes, it's true that many people want the president out, and for different reasons too. There's no doubt about it. Some for their own selfish reasons, others for his position, others for avoiding prison or orange overalls. But the fact of the matter is this, that what we have before us is a report, and that report must be adopted here today. What we will not agree with, however, I want to reiterate, is the impeachment process until that review application is finalized before a court of law. You cannot accept a report, adopt a report and implement its findings. At the same time, in this case, the President is questioning the findings in that report. Now let us also say this. We repeatedly say everybody is equal before the law. So let us also treat the president equally. It's his constitutional right to take the matter on review, whether we like it or not. And I know it's not going to satisfy all of us. But unfortunately, according to the Constitution, that is the right and prerogative of the president in this particular case to take this on review. And that is what he is doing. What we believe is happening today, this could have been delayed pending the outcome of that review. All that is happening today, we are wasting millions of rands, and that is where it's eventually going to go to. If we adopt this report and insist we want to implement the findings, all that is going to happen, the president will go to court and interdict this proceedings, and it will come to a standstill. So while we will support the adoption of this report, we don't believe that this process should continue until the review application is finalized before a court of law. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sheikh. The Honorable, the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We are here to debate the contents of the report and not to character assassinate the individuals who compiled the report. We will differ with them with respect. The President has exercised his rights to take the report on review. The opposition parties that are criticizing him for going to court, they go to court daily in this parliament on parliamentary matters. The President, like any South African, has a right to exercise his rights. The opposition, they must also respect that right. Accountability in this House means that we must be able to debate the report. And this is the founding of the Nkandla matter, the economic freedom fighters versus the President of the Republic. It did not say that we must not scrutinize the report. The report says that we must debate, we must engage, and decide whether we are adopting or we are rejecting the report. And that is what we are doing here as Parliament. We are holding the President accountable through this debate. It is not true that by rejecting the report, we are not holding the President accountable. The debate itself is that process of accountability. And that's the reason it was envisaged in terms of the rules that we will either reject or adopt. Even the judgment in Nkandla said that the Parliament will then debate, consider, deliberate, reject, or accept the report. That is what we are going to do. As the ANC, we do not agree with the adoption of the report for the following reasons that I'm going to state. If my colleagues on the left can be patient, I will come with them very slowly. In terms of the rules of Parliament, in terms of these rules that Parliament has adopted, in terms of 129 GB, we can only commence the impeachment process if sufficient evidence exists. Does sufficient evidence exist? In paragraph 80 of the report itself, the panel says it did not have sufficient evidence. There are various institutions that are still to conclude investigations, including Honorable Zungula, the Office of the Public Protector, mandated by the Executive Members Ethics Act to be the only institution to deal with members of the executive issues of their own personal remuneration. The Public Protector and these other 8 institutions have not finalized their investigation. This panel could have said we are going to wait for these findings. If they felt that they don't have the power, they don't have the time, like Zondo did, they could have requested Parliament to extend like they did once. Zondo requested many times until we got tired, but we still respected his because he wanted to produce a quality report. This panel could have also done the same. They did once to the Speaker and they were granted. If they still needed further information, we could not be sitting here doubting the process of the panel, its content and its outcomes. And there is one clear demonstrable example in the panel's report. They cite a Media 24 report, News 24 report, of the 6th of September, because they were given by Honorable Zungula and members of parliament, which was not responded to. And they say this Mr. Hazin does not exist and it's not clear how the money came into the country. On the 8th of September, News 24 published a report confirming the existence of the same person. But the panel says because of the rules, they had to ignore what is in the public domain. The report of the panel still says they doubt if this person exists. But on the 8th of September, before the report was released, News 24 confirmed this person exists. They confirmed that there was this process that was undertaken. And very recently, Sky News, just by the scratching of the surface, confirmed the existence of this person. How do we then adopt this report that did not conclude to get sufficient evidence to start the process to impeach a sitting president? The panel's report has set the bar too low to impeach a sitting president. They compare their report and the process that they undertook with the report of the public protector. They say in the public protector, in their own words, the panel, they say that in the public protector's report, they contrast the work that was done in paragraph 72. They say with the public protector, they were required to get what is prima facie evidence. They say in contrast to this, they are expected to get what is sufficient evidence. But what the panel does, they conclude that no, this thing is the same. Both prima facie and insufficient evidence is the same. It cannot be the same. Sufficient evidence, it's a higher standard than prima facie. And that's why, even when you go into the Constitution, it speaks about the removal of the public protector. When it speaks about the president, it speaks about the impeachment of the president. The standard is higher on sufficient evidence. The evidence must be there, it must be concrete. There must be no doubt that this evidence is here and is sufficient to commence this process of the impeachment process. We do not have that sufficient evidence. We do not have grounds to proceed with this debate, with the process to impeach a sitting president. Therefore, my friends from the opposition, I've got very good bad news for you. We will not support this report because it does not have what the rule says it must do. And I want to ask from the opposition, are you going to agree for your members to vote against the adoption of the report? Can Mr. Steenhuisen free your members to vote, because we have now convinced them that there is no sufficient evidence to impeach the president. We now know, Honorable Zungula, free your other members. They must not proceed because there is no sufficient evidence. There is no reason for your members to proceed because there is no sufficient evidence. What is being said and used here is just to blackmail the ANC. That the ANC, it does not want its members. The ANC has always been a constitutional organization, an organization that respects the constitution of this country. Like all members of the ANC, we are here debating because of the constitution. We are here to hold the president to account because of the constitution. We are here to hold all members of the executive ourselves because of the constitution. We respect it. That's why we are here. We are not running away from the debate. If the president wanted to run away from the debate, he would have also interdicted the debate. But the president just took the matter on review to show that he has got grounds. He does not agree with the report. But he does not stop this parliament from debating. He says this parliament must continue, it must debate, it must hold the president to account. And that is what we are doing. There is nothing untoward. You cannot blackmail us to agree with you that it will only be accountability if it's accepted that there must be an impeachment process. Even if there is no impeachment process, it is still accountability. Accountability is the work that we are doing here to scrutinize the report, to scrutinize everything, and we are here saying, in fact and in law, the report cannot stand. Thank you very much. We do not support the report.
Thank you. Honorable Shafter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In the course of this debate, we will extensively cite the jurisprudence of the Constitutional Court dealing with the executive accountability. We will support this motion on principle, based on our commitment to protect and promote constitutional democracy. That is our default position, nothing else, Honorable Chief Whip. Parliament's independence must be understood against its broad constitutional role, which requires it to maintain effective oversight over the executive. This is important because in order to safeguard public resources from abuse and plunder, executive power must independently be checked. This independence is grounded in the Constitution, which requires the Assembly, I quote, to represent the people and to ensure government by the people under the Constitution, close quote. When there is an impeachment motion against a sitting president, the Assembly must carry the wishes of the people without fail. Given the office that the president occupies, described by the Constitutional Court in the EFF case as, I quote, the highest calling in the land, close quote, the Assembly members must be able to freely vote on any motion involving the President, Honorable Speaker. The court went further to say the nation pins its hopes on the President to steer the country in the right direction, accelerate our journey towards a peaceful, just, and prosperous destination. Honorable members, the Constitution is what must guide the President. He takes an oath of office to obey its tenor. We were told by the Supreme Court of Appeal in 1999 in Patricia DeLille versus the Speaker of the National Assembly that no president, however formidable be his reputation or scholarship, can perform any act which is not sanctioned by the Constitution. From a purely constitutional stand of view, the President cannot bypass the Constitution and its limits in the course of performing his functions. Honorable Speaker, our position on this motion is therefore informed by this rich jurisprudence. Accordingly, evidence must be led and facts sift through to establish the veracity of the claims made in the panel report.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you. Thank you. The next speaker, Honorable Matisha.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. The panel's mandate was to, in quote, determine whether there is a basis to initiate impeachment proceedings against the president, unquote. Now, in its report, the panel says there is no basis. The panel based its conclusion on what it says are loopholes, inter alia. One, the absence of both written and oral evidence. Two, that in some instances where there is written information, such was not written by members but by other people. Three, absence of enough time to collate all information required by the panel to emerge with what one could refer to as the empirical evidence. Now, to quote a few so-called loopholes, in paragraph 80, the panel says, quote, "We are concerned that we have not been given all the information that is available on Phala Phala issue. It further goes on to say, we believe that the truth of what really happened lies beneath unanswered questions that are foreshadowed by what we are told from the information before us. We neither have the tools nor the power to excavate beneath the information that we have been provided with to uncover the answers to the unanswered questions. Now the panel's conclusion in paragraph 8.3 says, quote unquote, the president rightly criticized the evidence of Mr. Fraser's statement as hearsay, in particular the information from undisclosed sources. We are mindful of the dangers of hearsay and caution to be applied in approaching such evidence. Now that is what is there in the report. Now, in other words, the panel rejects the authenticity of all information presented to the panel by Mr. Fraser. This means that the uncontested conclusion that the panel only used hearsay there is a problem here.
Please.
Okay.
Order.
Now, I must say that it is unfortunate that the panel failed to ascertain whether Rules 3.1 of Members' Ethics Act, 34.1 of PRICA, which could have without doubt given the panel the differences between the common law criminal offenses like theft, housebreaking versus corruption by president. The panel failed to respond to that question. The panel depended on the media, and I think that has been reported. I propose that we apply both legal and ethical routes so that we can depend on expertise and independence. Parliament must make sure that we are able to go there so that that which we arrive at and with is something that can be able to be taken forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now invite the Honorable Nyoto to take the floor.
Speaker, this matter is cut and dried. Speaker, we are debating recommendations of the independent panel of judges that says in summary that the leader of the ruling party is truant and irresponsible and that he must be probed even further. We in the PAC agree that the state president must face investigation into the Phala Phala game farm shoddy business. It is scandalous. A whole state president not able to explain himself while disabuses the machinery of the state for his personal gain. He definitely needs to be probed. We do not have to jump to conclusions. However, the ladder of inference so far makes it difficult to us to avoid looking at the moral scruples of the governing party and its entire leadership. They have certainly lost the aura and gravitas of leading the people. The Tsotsis element have long taken over in the governing party. The thieves rule the roost. It is even questionable whether they have been in the liberation movement to fight for the restoration of human dignity and total freedom to a colonized African people. The Africanist pioneers, the founders of the PAC, saw this coming when you adopted the freedom charter in Kliptown. The inference we are able to draw from this is that their unscrupulous leaders only think about their stomachs and meaningless pleasure-seeking activities. This probe should not sidetrack us from the collapsing economy and dysfunctional state-owned enterprise under their watch. They face a long indictment list as we go to the voting stations in 2024. That is where the masses of the people will say their say. Azania deserves better.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The next speaker is Honorable MGE Hendricks.
I just want to say that the ANC is ALJAMA light. Chief Albert Lutuli's 10 political commandments, gracefully explained by Dr. Pali Lohola at the recent 16th Memorial Lecture, reminds honourable members of this House of Parliament its true cause, that is the liberation of its people, to lead its people with honesty, integrity, without any greed for personal gain and any theft, but to path the way for a better life for all, to establish a roadmap for peace and stability for the new generation, and not to trample on the graves of those who made the ultimate sacrifice with their lives. Thus, President Ramaphosa come close to these aspirations, is why ALJAMA has mixed feelings. The Phala Phala report is merely a preliminary inquiry that has allegations of 3 or 4 political parties, that has no evidentiary muster. The panel's recommendation comes nowhere to a finding that there was a gross violation of the Constitution to merit impeachment. ALJAMA feels that the report must just be noted. The media has created a sensational narrative, and it is time for them to sober up. In 2019, on the basis of one man, one vote, the African National Congress, which is now ALJAMA Light, won the right to govern. The ANC gave the right to their branches to elect an NEC who recommends a president. The 12 political parties in Parliament are not branches of the African National Congress or substitutes, and the efforts today must certainly be moot. If President Ramaphosa is the nominee of the ANC branches, then certainly the parliamentary processes to continue to give the nation closure. The nation must wait for the findings of the National Prosecuting Authority, the Reserve Bank and others to see that justice is done. Also, the dereliction of duty by the country's intelligence chief must be firmly dealt with. I told President Ramaphosa when he met with leaders of political parties when the July insurrection broke, the country is not in safe hands. In the absence of any findings of gross violation of the Constitution by the Concord, the no charges against him, President Ramaphosa, if elected by the branch of the ANC, must continue as Chief Albert Luthuli in his wisdom directed. Let us vote the way Chief Albert Luthuli would have wished, not along party lines, but in terms of our oath of office. Another question is whether keeping $1 million in the furniture compartment is a gross violation of the Constitution. This was common cause before the panel, and they did not find gross violation of the Constitution. An inquiry relating to a motion proposing an inquiry in terms of Section 89 of the Constitution is not supported by ALJAMA. ALJAMA, however, thanks the panel for defining the allegations.
Honorable.
The report has no other value. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Hendricks. The next speaker is the Honorable, the Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Speaker, much has been said about this vote today. And much will be said here about why this process, despite the fact that it was commissioned by this very House and its members, should be ignored. However, not much will be said about what this vote is not about. This vote is not about impeaching the president. This vote is not about the highly contested ANC presidential race. This vote is not about where the political lines are drawn and who's politically aligned to who. This vote is about accountability. This vote is about the Constitution that we all swore to uphold and the commitment that we made to South Africans to be lawmakers who respect the rules of this House and by extension, the people who sent us here. It is a vote to complete a process that we collectively embarked on, showcasing that it does not matter whether you're the president of the country or an ordinary citizen, the laws of this country apply to us all impartially. It is a vote to afford the president an opportunity to have the truth uncovered, an opportunity an innocent person would grab with both hands. To deliberately make this vote about the president and not about the principle of fairness and the rule of law is simply dishonest. It is undoubtable that crimes were committed on the president's Phala Phala farm and state resources were abused. It is also evident that this did not begin and end with the president, and that an entire network of government players and ministers are possibly implicated, especially judging by Minister Lamula's very spirited defense of the president this afternoon. To vote against the recommendations of this panel is to send a strong message to the people of South Africa that you only have to be politically connected to be insulated from accountability. This is not the first time a choice like this has been faced by this House. Many of you were here and voted to disregard the Nkandla ad hoc report, which detailed the abuse of state resources by the former president of the ANC, Jacob Zuma. You did so shamelessly. You did so with no regard of the massive responsibility you've been entrusted with. You did so in spite of the fact that South Africans deserved more from you. You chose party over country, and today you will make the same choice again. You will choose a cover-up over accountability. You will once again go down in history as the governing party that broke parliament. This is a big moment that will be recorded in history so that years from now, people will read about the disdain with which you treated this House. Those who will vote for what is right and not what is politically expedient today will be voting to restore the credibility of this House. And one day, when your children ask you what you did in big moments of our democracy, may you be courageous enough then to admit that you stood firmly on the wrong side of history.
I thank you, Honorable Member. I now invite the Honorable Q. Kumutile Janji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me recognize our number 2, Deputy President Mabuza. The African National Congress has been entrusted with the people's mandate of leading the nation. This is a duty of honor, and we accord the revered commitment to ensure that people's power realizes the creation of an equitable and just society. Since the beginning of the 6th administration, strengthening the state institutions and combating corruption are some of the ANC's critical priorities to improve the state capability to bring about socio-economic transformation. Since the release of the preliminary inquiry report by the independent panel on the removal of the president, our nation has been confronted by political and economic risks which have led to uncertainty. Just a few factual facts of the journey and the attempts that have been made. We should recognize that since the beginning of this 6th Parliament, a motion of no confidence to the president was proposed by the ATM since 2019. It was resuscitated this year, and they withdrew it due to the court not agreeing with their position on a secret ballot due to their self-created urgency. The EFF would have repeatedly intended to do the same. The Democratic Alliance has tabled a motion of no confidence on the cabinet, including the president, which was considered in March 2022, and the House did not support that. The Democratic Alliance went further to sponsor a motion for the establishment of the ad hoc committee on Phala Phala theft, itself not supported. Recently, this unprincipled alliance of opposition parties, whose sole objective is to remove the ANC, have also resolved to table a motion of no confidence
on the president based on this preliminary report. So, fellow South Africans, as we speak to you today, as the ANC, we are confronted with an opposition that seeks the ANC's demise at all costs through crook and hook to precipitate the nation to the instability of coalitions that are experienced in major cities. These hypocrites from these opposition parties do not consider the stability of the country and the recognition of the people's will, which has given the ANC the mandate to lead the nation. What this unprincipled opposition parties also undermines and does, they do not have confidence in an impeachment process which requires a 2/3 majority to remove the president. They do so by making a call for a motion of no confidence whilst considering the independent panel report, on which Parliament has to decide whether to establish an impeachment committee. The opposition parties also try to subcontract members of the ANC to be, and they want to be their shop steward, to say you need a secret ballot. In fact, even that secret ballot, it looks like it depends on the hope that members of the ANC will vote for them. Opposition parties caucuses on positions and matters, and so does the ANC. The ANC advances decisions after assessing the balance of evidence, and members of Parliament exercise their rights and according to their oath and constitutional obligations. A few things from the panel report. The independent panel makes some critical observations in the report. Firstly, the independent panel did not know whether South African Reserve Bank had concluded its investigation. If so, and the outcome of that investigation. They didn't know. Secondly, the independent panel recognized that the public protector is conducting an investigation into the matter. Thirdly, the South African Police Service is investigating the conduct of presidential protection services, and the panel did not know whether these investigations have since been completed, and other institutions such as the South African Revenue Services, the Financial Intelligence Center, as well as Home Affairs. Fourthly, and more significantly, the panel was not made aware of progress, if any, that the Hawks have made with regard to their investigations into these allegations by Mr. Arthur Fraser against the president. And in all of that, we are asked to support a report that is so full of doubt. The panel itself is doubtful about its own work. In paragraph 48 of the report, the panel explains that the panel is required to consider, as Honorable Lamola would have indicated, preliminary inquiry relating to a motion and thereafter make a recommendation whether sufficient evidence exists to show that the president committed any of the 3 grounds in the Constitution. To determine prima facie evidence, the consideration made is whether any complainant or applicant furnishes proof of which, if uncontested or uncontradicted, will stand to be accepted as truth and factual. The panel in the report is uncertain about the substance of the evidence it received from these 3 parties, EFF, UDF, and ATM, and the president. It is unsure whether the president has committed any acts that constitute a ground for removal because there's no sufficient evidence. That's from the panel. On the issue of money laundering, Honorable Malema, this opposition argues that there are issues of money laundering. Money laundering is regulated by the Prevention of Organized Crime Act, the POCA Act, which defines that money laundering at Section 4 is any person who knows or ought reasonably to have known that property is or forms part of the proceeds of unlawful activities. This would be a false and misleading assertion to argue that the president committed money laundering, as the panel report also does not know the origins of the money found on the president's farm. There is no evidence or prima facie evidence that the source of money is the proceeds of unlawful activities. That is why Rules 129P concerning recommendations focus on recommendations not being binding. This means if the panel recommended an impeachment committee, the Assembly reserves the right not to adopt the report or to adopt the report. This is stated in Rule 129P1 that the Assembly will make the final and binding decision relating to any matter dealt with in this rule. And any recommendations made by the independent panel or the impeachment committee or any decision by the Speaker in terms of this rule is not final and binding on the Assembly. The ANC does not support this report because the independent panel itself was not convinced that it had sufficient evidence. But having considered the information placed before it, which is insufficient, it disclosed that the President may have committed some violations. The position of the ANC is not an arbitrary position. It is a product of consideration of balance of evidence and the multiple factors the independent panel raises. The review of the President on this panel report is also informed by the testing of the basis of the recommendations of the panel report. Our disapproval of this report is not to stop accountability by the President. Instead, the President should continue to be accountable to Parliament. The independent panel does confirm that they have not tested the validity of the evidence as alleged in affidavit of Mr. Fraser. The panel also declared detailed limitations imposed on them by the process, yet their conclusions are not congruent or consistent with the information that they had. An impeachment process of the President removal must be based on substantive prima facie evidence. We call on all South Africans not to be conjured up by the media and opposition hype. It's moments like these that we test our ability as a nation to navigate these complexities. These hypocrites think that they have a firm grip on the ANC and its life. The panel report fell short of minimum threshold to lead us into an impeachment. The issue here is the test in the rules is sufficient evidence, not prima facie evidence. In other words, the test to be applied is much higher than prima facie, as Honorable Lamula would have indicated. No matter how many times you repeat these accusations, they will not stick or become true because of their repetition. It is therefore important that, Honorable Speaker, we go back to the drawing boards and fix some of the defects that we have in our rules. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, that concludes the debate on the independent panel report. I will now put the question. Are there any objections to the Section 89(1) inquiry? Is there a point of order? Honorable Heron. Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I indicated, we wish to propose an alternate resolution in terms of Rule 121(1) of the Rules of Order. May I present it?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The alternate recommendation or resolution that we're proposing, that the National Assembly resolves that given that the President has applied to the Constitutional Court to review and set aside the report of the independent panel, that the establishment and appointment of an impeachment committee is deferred in terms of Rule 129K2, pending the outcome of the President's review, and 2, if the President's review fails, to the extent that any part of the report is upheld, which found that the criteria in Rule 129G1B were met, then the impeachment committee must be established and appointed to commence the Section 89(1) inquiry. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Heron. Honorable members, Rule 123 provides that any motion or every motion requires notice, except those draft resolutions specifically exempted by Rule 123, which includes a motion for the postponement or discharge of any order of the day. And therefore, Honorable Heron, essentially you are moving that the establishment and appointment of the impeachment committee should be deferred pending the outcome of the President's review application at the Constitutional Court. A motion for the postponement or discharge of an order, right, of the day in terms of Rule 123(1)(c) should have been done right at the beginning of the proceedings. As you did not move this motion prior to us debating the order, it can only be assumed that your proposal was in fact intended not as a postponement motion, but an amendment to the question that has now been put. This amendment is equally out of order in terms of Rule 121(I). In the instance the question before the House is that Section 89, order. In the instance that the question before the House is that Section 89 inquiry be proceeded with, your proposed resolution, however, asks for the House to decide on two substantive matters: a resolution to postpone the matter, and at the same time another resolution to proceed to an inquiry contingent on a future. As yet, uncertain outcome of a process that is outside the ambit of the National Assembly. The Assembly cannot relinquish its own mandated responsibility in this manner. I rule, Honorable Heron. Honorable members, we now proceed Honorable members, I proceed. I will now put the question: are there any objections to the Section 89(1) inquiry being proceeded with on the basis of the independent panel report and the matter being referred to the impeachment committee in terms of Rule 129(1)? If there are any objections, I now put the question. Those in favor of S89(1) inquiry being proceeded with and the matter being referred to the impeachment committee will say yea, and those against the Section 89 inquiry being proceeded with will say no. I think order. I think the noes have it. Honorable Kwahube.
Speaker, the DA would like to call for a division, please.
Honorable members, the DA has called for a division. And therefore, we will now, yes, We will now proceed with the division, and the bells will be rung for 10 minutes.
You said we'll raise these matters when we arrive here. So we want to appeal to you and to your conscience that you please allow the secret ballot, because for sure your staff members would have done some work during the break. Where it's against you if you allow a secret ballot, and that on its own, it's a reason enough for you to reconsider a decision on the secret ballot. The third issue, Speaker, is that there are members of parliament from the ruling party who spoke openly that they are going to vote against the dictatorship of the Minister of Minerals. What does it mean? It means that this vote has got a potential of going either direction. And because of that, we ought to protect those people, because through that intimidation, they may not be able to fulfill their constitutional mandate. So the circumstances that are prevailing now, Speaker, dictate that you provide the secret ballot. We are confident there are 60 members in the ruling party who have confirmed that they will vote for this. And those members will be intimidated if this vote is not secret.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, we proceed. Honorable member, just a slight correction. I don't get intimidated easily. I can assure you, I don't. I'm a fighter, just like you call yourself a fighter. I'm a fighter. I don't get threatened that easily. So thank you very much, honorable members. Now, honorable members, the rules of the National Assembly provide for different procedures for members to cast their votes. These include voting by electronic means or a manual voting procedure by way of a whip or by voice. The rules also stipulate that the Speaker must predetermine the voting procedures. For this division, I have determined that a manual voting system will be used, whereby each member will be called upon and requested to voice his or her voice. I have specifically determined this procedure for this vote as a result of an electronic voting system not being in operation. In terms of the rules, all members present when the question is put to you, who were indoors, now are in here, and the doors are barred, and they must vote on record and abstention. This rule does not apply to a minister or deputy minister who is not a member of the House. Political parties have been requested to provide lists of members who will be called first when it is their party's turn to vote. After that party's list has been called, the remaining members of the party will be called alphabetically. The secretary will call each member from the membership list, starting with those from the majority party. Members will be called by their surname followed by their initials. In order to facilitate this process, I appeal to honorable members to indicate their vote only without a preamble or a statement and without delay. Members must simply indicate yes, no, or abstain. In the event a member's name is called and they are present, but for whatever reason do not indicate their vote, an opportunity will be provided for such members to raise their hands after the last member is called from the list, at which point they will be recognized to cast their vote. Order. The question before the House is that the Section 89(1) inquiry be proceeded with. Honorable Member, point of order.
No, Speaker. We want to place on record that we do not agree with the approach that you have taken in terms of this vote. And we're going to subject this process to a judicial review, which will include holding you personally liable for having taken purposefully a wrong decision, which is destructive, is going to undermine the democratic rights of members of parliament. Because there is a huge difference. The outcomes, if it was secret ballot, was going to be different as opposed to what you're going to be doing now. And we've demonstrated several times, humanly possible, everything we've done to illustrate to you that what you're doing is dangerous, it's not sustainable, and it's impinging on the constitutional rights of members to exercise their right of holding the executive accountable without fear or favor. So we're going to take you to court.
Thank you.
And you're not going to win peace. We'll remind you when you come back that we have defeated you for taking irrational decisions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I now proceed. In the event, Honorable Kwangwa, and then Honorable Members, can I just remind you that when I am dealing with a point of order, no other member of parliament should raise his or her hand until such time I have concluded that issue. And I think it's something which we need to internalize. No matter how impatient we are, bear with me, allow me to deal with the matter, rule, and then you can raise your hand. Honorable Kwangwa, now we are in Londoke. Yes, as Honorable Shivambo was on the floor, you had your hand flying, please.
Correct, ma'am.
Thank you.
Because I was waiting for my turn. But thank you very much. Speaker, look, our proposal and call for a secret ballot is really intended to try and safeguard the integrity of this process. And this one I did again, I was calm my foot. It's intended, Yabana, they are drowning me out, I can't even hear myself speak.
You know, Honorable Member, you are repeating.
The UDM, I'm not repeating. The UDM,
Kodwa, you are repeating.
It's fine,
exactly
but look, I
what
must speak
has
here
been
for the
discussed.
UDM. No, that's fine. They were speaking for themselves
But
and their political
Honorable
parties.
Members had an opportunity to raise these matters when we were debating the report.
No, we didn't debate the secret ballot there.
Okay, Honorable
in case you were
Member.
not listening, Mama.
I give it to you, thanks.
We're saying the intention is to safeguard the integrity of this process. And our fear is exactly as correctly articulated by our colleagues, that now we're allowing a situation where people are going to vote under duress against the report, when they should have been given an opportunity by the House to vote and exercise their full independence. That's the unfortunate part. Lastly, Speaker, as I prepare to sit down, I need to make this point. We're here, we adopted these rules via the impeachment process because the Concord said we need to raise the threshold in terms of how we do the impeachment process and not treat it the same way we treat a vote of no confidence. Now, by accepting an open ballot, we're lowering the bar, we're doing the opposite of what the Concord said we should do. So we want to caution you and say, we also do not agree with what you are doing, but you may proceed.
I thank you, Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable members, we now proceed. Now, order. The question before the House is that the Section 89(1) inquiry be proceeded with on the basis of the independent panel report and the matter be referred to the impeachment committee in terms of Rule 129I. Those in favor of the Section 89(1) inquiry being proceeded with and the matter being referred to the impeachment committee will vote yes. Those against it will vote no. Those who want to will abstain, and however we will record their vote as such. Voting now will commence. The doors of the chamber will remain locked until the voting is concluded. The Secretary will now proceed to call members.
Majordina, PCP.
I vote no. Thank you.
Mabuza, DD.
I vote no.
Sinodi, SL.
The answer is no.
Pando, GNW.
No.
GNM, sorry.
The vote is no. Thank you very much.
Frolic, CT.
I vote no.
Buroto, MG.
Kiagana Kirawa.
Ndombela, MLD.
I vote no.
Dlakude, DD. Dlakude, DE.
I vote no.
Sorry. Lisuma, RMM.
I vote no.
Tele, BH.
I vote no.
Chrissy, BD.
I vote no.
Didiza, 18.
Angivumi.
Dlamini Zuma, NC.
As a disciplined member of the ANC, I vote yes.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Please. Order, honorable members, please. Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, please. Thank you.
Godan, PJ.
As a disciplined member of the ANC, I vote no.
Gungubele, M.
No.
Kubai, MT.
Anfumelani na swona na Kens.
Lamula, RO.
Just the honorable members, remember, I had made a request that there should be no preambles. It's a yes, it's a no, it is abstain. Please, honorable members, thank you.
No.
Mandashe, SG.
No.
Mbalula, FA.
No.
Mkunu, ES.
No.
Modise, TR.
No.
Mutsecha, MA.
No.
Mutsualedi, PA.
No.
Mthethwa, EN.
Cha.
Ndabeni Abrahams, ME.
With my conscience, I vote no.
Nkuane Mashabane, ME.
No.
Njabeni, NPS. KPS.
Ndikohaneledzana nazo.
Nxesi, TWT.
No.
Nzimande, BE.
Cha. Angivumi.
Phahla, MJ.
No.
Sisulu, LN. Sisulu, LN. Zulu, LD.
Uno omkhulu.
Bapela, KD.
No. Can you pronounce it proper?
KO.
KO, yes.
Yes, sorry.
No.
Botes, A.
Nee.
Kappa, RN.
Hayi andizi.
Chikunga, LS. Dlomo, SM.
Aye, cha.
Dlamini, SM.
No.
Gina, N.
No.
Holomisa, SP.
Aye.
Jeffrey, JH.
No.
Kekana, PS.
Near.
Kifit, N.
No.
Kodwa, NG.
No.
Mafu, NN.
Aye.
Magazi, D. DP. Magazi, DP. Mahlalela, AF.
Cha, angivumi.
Mahlobo, MD.
Angivumi somlomo.
Majola, FZ.
No.
Makwetla, SP.
No.
Manamela, KB.
No.
Mapulane, MP.
A big no.
Mashiko Dlamini, NC.
I'm KC.
KC.
No.
Masondo, D.
No.
Maswale, GP.
I vote no.
Thank you.
Matale, CC.
No.
Mhaule, MR.
No.
Muloi, BE.
No.
Nkabane, NP.
No.
Nzuza, NB.
No.
Pilane Majake, MCC.
No.
Siweya, RL.
RT. No.
Siwela, RT.
Yeah. Siweya. No.
Sikwacha, M. Skwacha, M.
No.
Soju, MM.
No.
Chwete, P.
No.
Abraham, PN.
No.
Adams, RC.
No.
Aduns, NG.
No.
April, HG.
Obsolete near.
Basopu, M. No. Bucas, AJ.
Near.
Bilankulu, JH.
Nala.
Bilankulu, NK. Bongo BT. Bongo BT. Benz Ngabashe Z.
Ngenganqune sazela esinyulu ndiyala.
Buthelezi NS. Buthelezi NS. Chapa N.
No.
Chabane MS.
No.
Tikhale MC.
Awa.
Direko DR.
No.
Darks MA.
Yes.
Dlamini M.
No.
Dlamini NE.
Abubu.
Dlulane BN.
No.
Dundra MAL.
No.
Gyanki QR.
Ayunoche.
Khadebe BA.
No.
Gancho N.
No.
Gela A.
No.
Gomba MM.
No. No.
Gumbu TT.
No.
Kumete SN.
No.
Hadebe BM.
No, señor.
Harvard BM. Oh, sorry. Harvard X. Sorry.
No.
Hermans J. Hermans J.
No.
Hlongo AS.
No.
Jacobs F.
No.
Jacobs KL.
No.
James TH.
No.
Jomat Peterson TM.
Near.
Kumalo FE.
Cha.
KBMT.
Aye.
Kornoff GW.
Near.
Kotampeko ZA.
No.
Kubeka NJ.
Cha.
Kula SM. Kula SM. Lechwase TI.
No.
Lechwase TI.
No.
Okay. Let's see WT.
No.
Lubengo ML.
Ndikuhanedzana nazo.
Luzipo S.
For now, no.
Market JJ.
No.
Mabe BP.
No.
Mabileta MD.
No.
Magaxa KE.
No.
Magwanishe G.
No.
Mabehlala T.
Party line.
Mabehlala T.
Party line. Ithini?
Mabehlala T.
Yes.
Mashaule MG. Mashaule
No.
MG.
No.
Mahlo NP.
Naku.
Mahumapilo SOR.
I vote yes.
Makubela Mashele LS.
I vote no.
Makubele Marilele PP.
Animi na swona.
Malachi T.
I vote no.
Malemacha CN. Remember here.
I vote no.
Malinga VT.
No.
Malomane VP.
No.
Mamabolo JB.
Awa akidumeli.
Mananiso JS.
No.
Mandela ZMD.
Andifuna uqhotyelwa nini. No.
Maneli BM.
No.
Maneli ST.
No.
Manganye J.
Anivumeli.
Mangu LN. Mangu LN.
No.
Marikwa GP. Sorry for the pronunciation.
Nyara. Nyaya.
Maseko Jele NH. Maseko Jele NH.
No.
Mashiko MR. Mashiko MR.
Akidumeli hle.
Mashele TV.
No.
Masiko FA.
No.
Masondo TS.
No.
Masuta TM. Masuta TM.
No.
Maswanganyi MJ.
No.
Matafa OM.
No.
Matebula EF.
No.
Matuba MM.
No.
Mbata SGN. Mbata SGN. Mbingo Gigaba BP. Mbingo Gigaba BP.
No.
Mbuyane SH.
Cha.
McDonald LE.
No.
Mchunu TVB.
No.
Mdabe SW.
No.
Mfiko MMA.
My vote is a no.
Mkweba T.
I.
Mjobo LN.
No.
Mkachwa NT.
No.
Mkize ZL. Mkize ZL. Mkwanazi JCN.
No.
Mlenzana Z. Mlenzana Z.
No.
Mutle TN. Mutle TN. Mutle TN. Remember not here. All right. Moache RM.
No.
Modise M.
No.
Modise PMP.
No.
Muela DL. Muela DL.
No.
Molala LE.
No.
Molikwa MA.
No.
Marwachesha PR.
No.
Morolong IK.
No.
Mos LN.
Akhruat Nia.
Mutaung NE.
No.
Motapo MRM. Motapo MRM.
Honorable Member, no or yes? Awa. Okay.
Motsecha MS.
No.
Mbanza TS.
Cha ngivumi.
Mpumza GG.
No.
Mpushe PT. Mpushe PT.
No. With a capital letter N.
Msimango XN.
It's a no.
Mtembu AH.
Okay.
Munyai TB.
No.
Mvana NQ.
Hayibo.
Myeni ET.
No, no, no.
Myolwa DJ.
No.
Ndaba CN.
No.
New vote Gluchen WS.
No.
Nkomo Z.
No.
Nkosi PS.
No.
Nonsele M.
No.
Not sorry. Yes, thank you. Not Nachel J. Thank you.
No.
Ngola X.
It's a no.
Tobongwana N.
No.
Ntuli MM.
No.
Papo AHM.
No.
Patien S. Matlazi KT.
No, Chair.
Peacock NP.
No.
Peters ED.
No.
Piri CM.
Matuti. No.
Peterson ML.
No.
Pillay KB.
No.
Kaiso XS.
No.
Ramadwa MM.
No. Quintensha.
Okay. Ramaboleng A.
No.
Siebi AM.
No.
Simenya MR.
No.
Shabalala LF.
Cha angivumi.
Sibiya DP.
No.
Sihlwayi NN.
No.
Siwela EK.
No.
Siwela VS.
No.
Skosana GJ.
No.
Somyo SS.
No.
Stock DM.
No.
Swats B.
No.
Klape MME.
No.
Klomelang KB.
No.
Tolashe NG.
No.
Tseke GK.
I vote no.
Tseki MA.
Chem chichisi.
Are you okay? Okay. Chabalala J.
My name is Shabalala. Is a disciplined force of the left. The answer is no.
Chwete B. Chwete B.
No. No.
Van Schalkwyk SR.
No.
Volmarans MJ.
No.
Taba NV. Absent. Taba VC.
No.
Taba PP. Klasa FT.
No.
Tego ST.
No.
Yabo BS.
Nyaya.
Got that? You got it? Zibula BT.
No.
Zondi MA.
No.
Zuma AS.
I vote no.
Zungu TRM.
No.
Zwane MJ.
Yeah. Yes.
Order, honorable members. I'm sorry, there's a member who needs medical attention. Please, are they here? Oh, okay. Honorable member, there's a member who needs medical attention. Are you attending to that, honorable? Okay, honorable member, please will you usher her out and then we can find her comfortable space. Honorable Chief Whip, your person there. Order. Okay, Honorable Jomo. Sorry, there is a doctor who's just gone out, who's attending to the person. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Please proceed. You may continue. Honorable members, order. STP, you may continue.
Steenhuisen, JH.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I vote yes.
Kwahube, S.
I vote yes.
Lotrit, A.
Yes.
De Freitas, MSF.
I vote yes.
Hussein, MH.
I vote yes.
Bergman, D.
I vote yes.
George, DT.
Yes.
Kola, D.
I vote yes.
Fiber, WF.
I vote yes.
Mazoni, NWA.
I proudly vote yes.
Lies, RA.
Yes.
Majola, TR.
Yes.
Macpherson, DW.
I vote yes.
Marais, EJ.
Yes.
Walters, TCR.
Yes.
Bradenbach, G.
Yes.
Abraham, PN. Abraham, PN. Abraham, PN. Sorry. Abraham, ALA. Sorry.
Voting yes.
Alexander, WR.
Yes.
Bahrain, M.
Yes.
Bason, LJ. Bason, LJ. Bason, LJ. Bodlani, T.
Yes.
Bond, MS. Bond, MS. Brink, C.
Yes.
Bryant, DW.
Yes.
Kachalia, GKY.
I vote yes.
Kado, MJ.
Yes.
Chetty, M. Chetty, M. Clark, MO.
Yes.
Cuthbert, MJ.
I vote yes.
De Villiers, JN.
Ja.
Engelbrecht, J.
Ek stem ja.
Isaac, F. Isaac,
I vote yes.
Gondwe, MM.
I vote yes.
Graham, SJ.
I vote yes.
Hicklin, MB. Hicklin, MB. Yinana, NE.
Yes.
Horn, W.
Ek stem ja.
Hassinger, CHH.
Ek stem ja.
Ismail, H.
I vote yes.
Joseph, D.
Yes.
Kakao, KL.
It's Chachal. I vote yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Kanyile, TA. Kanyile, TA.
I vote yes.
Kumalo, NV.
Yes.
King, CV.
Yeah.
Kruger, HCC.
Stem ja.
Krumberg, GB, GR. Krumbok. Okay. Le Goff, TA.
To protect the Constitution, I vote yes.
Lorima, JRB.
Yes.
Mabena, TB.
Vote yes.
Mabika, MS.
Yebo.
Malati, MS.
I vote yes, sir.
Maray, SJF. Maray, SJF. Okay. Masango, BS.
Yes.
Masipa, NP.
I vote yes.
Mbabanma, TM.
Ewe.
Mbele, ZN.
Yes.
Maglua, JJ. Maglua, JJ. Mhlongo, TW.
Yebo.
Mailam, KJ.
Yes.
Mpiti, L.
I vote yes.
Maybach, NG.
Yes.
Ngobo S.
Yes.
Notata BB.
I vote yes.
Opperman G.
Ik stem ja.
Phillips C. Phillips C. Powell EL.
I vote yes.
Rose AC.
Yes.
Sarupen AN. Sarupen AN. Schreiber LA. Schreiber LA. Sichulo IS. Sharif NK. Shelembe ML.
Yes.
Spies ERJ.
Yes.
Sturber DJ.
Ja.
Tarabella Machesi NI.
I vote yes.
Ter Blanche OS.
Ja.
Van der Waalt D. Van der Waalt D. Van Dijk V.
Ja.
Van Minen BM.
I vote yes.
Van Zeil AM.
Ik stem ja.
Weber AMM.
Yes.
Whitfield AG.
Yes.
Wilson ER.
Yes.
Winkler HS.
I vote yes.
Malima, JS.
Yes.
Shibambu, NF.
The vote is yes.
Mente, NV.
I vote yes.
Dlamini, MM.
Yes.
Mautwe, OMC.
Yes.
Ndlozi, MQ.
Yes.
Mashabela, NR.
Yes.
Mkalipi, HO. Ntlangwini, EN.
Yes.
Aris, LH.
Extemia.
Teza, K.
I vote yes.
Chabangu, MM.
Yes, sir.
Chira, NN.
I vote yes.
Hlonyana, KNF.
I vote yes.
Kaula, MS.
Siavuma.
Komane, RN.
I vote yes.
Langa, TM.
Yebo.
Madlingozi, BS.
Yes.
Madokwe, P.
Yes, definitely.
Mafanya, WTI.
Yes.
Mare, P.
I vote yes.
Matulelwa, B.
I vote yes.
Matias, NS.
I vote yes.
Matumba, A.
Ndiyatenda.
Mkondo, CN.
Yebo.
Mokhale, T.
I vote yes.
Mohlala, MR.
I vote yes.
Mohoto, SM.
Yes.
Motwendi, MK.
I vote yes.
Motsipe, CCS.
I vote yes.
Msane, TP. Msane. Mtenjane, DF. Mtenjane, DF.
I vote yes.
Noluchungu, NJ. Absent. Pambo, V.
Yes.
Paulson, MN.
Yes.
Shembeni, HA.
I vote yes.
Siwisa, AM. Absent.
I vote yes.
Sondi, NP. Tafeni, N.
Engosi ndiyavuma.
Tambo, S.
Yes.
Tembekwayo, SS.
I vote yes.
Tito, LF.
I vote yes.
Chwaku, M.
Yes.
Yako, YN.
I vote yes.
Buthelezi, MG. Singh, N.
Yes.
Buthelezi, EM.
I vote yes.
Buthelezi, SA. Tebekhulu, RN.
Yes.
Hlengwa, MD.
Yes.
Hlengwa, M.
Yes.
Luthuli, BN.
Yes.
Majozi, Z.
Yes.
Msimang, CT. Msimang, CT.
Yes.
Ngobo, SL.
Yes.
Sithole, KP.
Yes.
Van der Merwe, LL.
Yes, I vote yes.
Zondo, SS.
Siyavuma.
Groenewald, PJ.
Ja.
Mulder, CP.
Ja.
Boshoff WJ,
Ja, alsjeblieft.
Breed T,
Ja.
Denner H,
Ja.
Groenewald IM, Groenewald IM,
Definitief ja.
May P,
Ek stem ja.
Mulder FJ,
Ek stem ja.
Van Staren PA,
Ek stem ja.
Wessels WW,
Ja.
Meshwe, KRJ,
Yes.
Swart, SN,
I vote yes.
Sukas, ME,
Ja.
Thring, WM,
YES, yes.
Holomisa, BH,
Yes to ethics of good governance.
Kwangwa, NLS,
Amago, sisi.
Zungula, V,
Ayicace, ewe.
Mahau, TL,
Yes. Oh, yes.
Delil P,
Abstain.
Aaron BN,
Abstain.
Shaikh Imam AM,
Yes.
CBC CHM, CBC CHM, Galo MP, Galo MP, Jafta SM,
Lekota, MSP. Lekota, MSP. MGP. no, sorry. Madisha, WM.
No.
Hendricks, MGE. Hendricks, MGA. Hendricks, MGA.
I vote no.
Yonto, M.
Kutheni niqala ngoHendricks? Kutheni niqala ngeALJAMA? Kudala ndiyicorrectisa le nto. Kutheni?
Xolo mhlekazi. Sicela uxolo lo ndawo mhlekazi.
Oh. Ndivota yes.
That's it.
Order. Order. Honorable members, as I indicated earlier, members who remained present but could not, when called, exercise their votes may now raise their hands, after which I will recognize them to indicate their vote. The Secretariat will assist the Chair in this regard, but also those members who may not have voted the way they would have wanted to will now have an opportunity to indicate. Order. Okay. Okay, honorable member at the corner, the honorable Maambe Hlale Thandi. Honorable Maambe Hlale.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It came to my attention that my vote for party line is captured wrongly. Vote for party line is no. And it came to my attention that it was recorded yes. Then I vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members. Okay, order. Honorable Kwahube. Order, honorable members.
Speaker, the process for the guidelines which have been published by the House do not make any provision for members of this House to change their vote once the vote has been cast. It goes against every single thing that we have said about calling a roll call vote, and it delegitimizes this process. This cannot be the case.
Thank you, Honorable Kwahube. If I may finish, is there any other member who was not recognized or who didn't hear his or her name? Okay, honorable members. Abanye bati, so I don't know what that means. Thank you. Honorable members, there is a provision in the rules. Ntongo, wait, wait. Thank you very much. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, in terms of the rules, the voting procedure is not yet closed. And it is for that reason, honorable members, that I asked if there is anyone who may have I'm unable to say honorable who. It's you I've been pointing at actually. And you know who. Don't do that, honorable member. In any event, even in the case of electronic voting, honorable members, usually whips are requested to scrutinize. Right? Yes, honorable members. Yes, honorable members. Mr. Kaso, will you please help me? The presiding, my colleagues are very far from me, so they can't help me. Okay, I recognize your hand. Okay, before I recognize you, Honorable Malema, Honorable Steenhuisen, and Honorable Khatebe, I just want to, honorable members, Notawe, Lima. Honorable members, Rule 117 states that party whips may, at the request of any affected members, scrutinize the electronic voting results at the table. Hold on. Under their signature, make limited corrections, provided the corrections so made do not affect the result of the division. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Malema.
Honorable Speaker, I think we were proceeding on a very wrong footing. I think to call for those who have not voted because they were missed for whatever reason, it's correct. But to ask for a person to correct the vote is extremely wrong because it's not electronic voting. You are giving a wrong example. Because another example I can give is that once I voted and I put a ballot paper in a ballot box, I can't come back and say I want to correct that which I've done. But so I think that what Mahambe Lala did should be stopped because it's not acceptable.
Honorable Member, Mahambe Phala, please.
Oh, Mahambe Phala, yes.
Please withdraw that one, please.
No, I was not inside.
No,
I made a mistake.
No, Honorable Member, I take serious exception.
No, it's like you saying to me Malem. I'm not Malem, I'm Malema.
No. As a woman, I take serious exception to that kind of mistake.
Okay, I withdraw.
Yes, thank you.
Now, it is wrong to say a person can correct a vote. It's actually intimidating to say once you have voted and then you say to us, are you sure you don't want to correct your vote? You are in a way intimidating members of parliament, and that is unacceptable.
Okay.
So please, that thing of people correcting their vote must fall off, and then you call those who were missed by mistake to vote if they wish to do so, and we close the process. There's no option of correcting a vote.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Steenhuisen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in terms of Rule 104 of the Rules of the National Assembly. Rule 1041 says, where no electronic voting system is in operation, a manual voting system may be used in accordance with a procedure predetermined by the Speaker and directives to be announced by the presiding officer. So your reliance on a provision that relates to electronic voting falls away. Those guidelines were published, they were agreed upon by all parties, and they were given to all of us before we arrived today. These were the rules of the game for today. There's no provision whatsoever in these guidelines that have been predetermined and approved by all parties for you to make the ruling that you have done. Unless you can point me to the relevant section in the predetermined guidelines made in terms of Rule 104, then I'm afraid what you're about to do is ultra vires. It's not protecting the process, and you're not protecting members of parliament from potential intimidation. And I would regard that as unparliamentary.
Okay, honorable members, may I request that you lower your hand, please. Tate Matseg, please lower your hands. Honorable members, may I take the opportunity as the presiding officer, as the speaker, to correct that which has just happened. I've just had a discussion with the Secretary of the National Assembly, and therefore that provision which we were now including, which is not contained in the rules which you have adopted, right, will be done away with. So at this point, the voting process is closed. Honorable members, I am being very deliberate by taking this kind of decision. I am protecting the process. I want to make sure that the work which we have done, which has gone down so well, should not be spoilt by silly mistakes. Thank you. What is that point of order for? If it relates to what I've just closed now, please don't address it. I've closed it, and I've closed it at the note that this matter now does not continue. We've stopped it. On a serious note, I hope you're not going to talk to it. You are not reopening it. Okay.
Honorable. Honorable Speaker, there's a matter that was raised by the opposition which needs to be corrected, though you have ruled. The table never called for the reopening of the voting. You called for people who had not voted. So it must be recorded that you, as the Speaker, had not violated any rules. You called for those who were excluded. You never called for the reopening of the vote.
Okay, honorable members, thank you very much. Honorable members, are there members who have not exercised their right to vote who are here? None. The vote is closed, and I'm now waiting for the results. Thank you. Honorable members, please be patient with us. People are still checking just to make sure that we give you the right numbers. I know people are rushing for their flights, but please bear with us. Thank you. Order, honorable members, we have the results. Yes, those who have voted yes, 148. And those who have voted no, 214. Abstain, hold on, honorable members. Abstention 2. And therefore, the Section 89(1) inquiry will therefore not be proceeded with. I thank you, honorable members. That concludes the business of the day, and the House is adjourned.